Look at your hands. If you drop a ball right now, your natural instinct is to catch it. You grab it, you throw it, you hold it close. We are primates. Hands are our primary tools. They are how we built tools, how we climbed trees, how we fed ourselves. But now, look at a football field. 11 players on each side, running themselves to the point of absolute collapse, trying to move a sphere using every part of their body except the one thing that separates us from almost every other animal on Earth, their hands. If they touch the ball with their fingers, they are punished. It is a simple, arbitrary rule, but today more than 4 billion people will watch it. They will scream, they will cry, they will paint their faces and start riots in the streets, all for a piece of air wrapped in plastic, rolling across some grass. Why? Why did we build the largest global spectacle in human history around a game that forbids us from using our hands? The answer isn't about sports. It's about survival. It's about an ancient program running in your brain that we have never been able to turn off. To understand where this obsession comes from, we have to go back. Long before stadiums, long before television, long before rules. In medieval England, there was a game called mob football. It wasn't played on a field. It was played across entire towns. The goal was simple: get a ball, usually an inflated pig's bladder, to a designated spot at the other end of the village. There were no teams. There were no referee whistles. There were no limits on players. Hundreds of people would throw themselves into a massive, surging wave of bodies. They fought in the mud. They broke bones. They drowned in rivers. They stabbed each other. It was so violent that in 1314, King Edward II officially banned it, declaring that the noise and chaos caused many evils. Over the next 400 years, English monarchs tried to ban the game over 30 times. They failed, every single time. You could threaten people with prison, with fines, with death. But the moment they had a day off, they would find a bladder, inflate it, and start fighting in the streets. It was as if they couldn't help themselves, like a hunger they couldn't satisfy. But the pig's bladder wasn't the first ball. If you dig deeper into history, the origins of the game get significantly darker. Legends across Northern Europe tell of early matches played not with leather, but with the remnants of defeated enemies. After a battle, Viking raiders or Saxon soldiers would kick the fallen helmets of their foes across the fields. It was the ultimate statement of dominance, a physical display of conquest. But it was also something else. It was a ritual. The act of kicking around object, of controlling it with your feet, is one of the oldest human impulses. Before we had tools, we had legs. Before we threw rocks, we kicked them. We kicked stones out of our path. We kicked fruits from trees. It is a low-level motor skill, deeply embedded in our biology. But somewhere along the line, we turned this basic action into a simulation of battle. And think about the physics of it. Kicking is incredibly inefficient. Compared to throwing a rock or swinging a stick, kicking a ball with your feet is clumsy, unpredictable, and difficult to master. Our feet were evolved for two things: support and locomotion. They are meant to grip the earth, to push us forward, to absorb the shock of running down prey on the savannah. They were never meant for precision control of a rolling object. When you watch a professional player curve a ball around a wall of defenders, you are watching a human body perform a biomechanical miracle. We took a limb designed purely for walking and forced it to do the work of a hand. Why make it so hard? Because the difficulty is the point. The struggle is what makes the victory mean something. By the 19th century, the street brawls of medieval England entered the elite public schools of the British Empire. Schools like Rugby, Eton, and Harrow. These were institutions designed to train the boys who would run a global empire. But the schools had a problem. The boys were wild. They rioted, they drank, they fought. The headmasters realized they needed a way to control this chaotic energy. So they took the violent street game and gave it rules. They split the field. They set a clock. They created positions. But the schools couldn't agree on the most important rule of all: hands. At rugby school, a boy named William Webb Ellis allegedly picked up the ball and ran with it, creating a game of carrying and tackling. But at other schools, they insisted on a game played only with the feet. In 1863, a group of men met in a London tavern to settle the argument. They wrote down the rules of the association. The hands were banned. The modern game of soccer was born. It was a tool of civilization, a way to teach boys discipline, teamwork, and how to follow orders. It worked. The boys stopped rioting. Instead, they took the game with them to the ends of the earth. Wherever British workers went to build railways, dig mines, or run factories, they brought a ball. And the local populations watched, copied, and became obsessed. In the late 19th century, factory owners in Britain realized something important. Their workers were exhausted, angry, and starting to organize unions. So the owners started football clubs. Arsenal was started by munitions workers. West Ham was started by ironworks employees. The owners realized that if a worker spent all week looking forward to a Saturday match, they wouldn't spend their free time plotting a revolution. The game became a pressure valve for the industrial age, a way to keep the working class quiet. It was the modern equivalent of Roman bread and circuses, and it worked perfectly. The factory chimneys have crumbled, but the clubs remain. But why does it work? Why does a game played by strangers have so much power over us? To your brain, those 11 players aren't strangers, they are your tribe. For 99% of human history, your ancestors lived in small bands of hunter gatherers. If your tribe lost its territory, you starved. If your tribe was invaded, you died. Survival was a team sport. Your brain evolved to crave group identity. It releases dopamine when your group wins and cortisol when it loses. When you watch a match today, your modern brain knows it's just entertainment, but your ancient brain doesn't. It still thinks you are standing on the savannah, watching your warriors fight for the water hole. When your team scores, your brain registers a victory for your genetic survival. When they lose, it registers a threat. This is why domestic abuse rates spike by up to 38% in some areas after a team loses a major match. This is why people commit murder over a penalty kick. It is a glitch in our cognitive software, a million-year-old survival mechanism triggered by a ball crossing a white line. Today, the game is a multi-billion-dollar empire. The ball is no longer a pig's bladder, it's a high-tech aerodynamic sphere. The players aren't factory workers. They are global icons paid millions to run on manicured grass under bright lights. But look closer. The core of it hasn't changed. The stadium is the new cathedral. The singing crowds are the congregation. The turf is the sacred ground. We have built a world of concrete and screens, of offices and routines, where the raw violence of our past is locked away. But for 90 minutes, we let the beast out. We allow ourselves to feel the ancient terror of the tribe, the joy of the hunt, the despair of defeat. It is the only place left where we can go to war without killing anyone. So the next time you watch a match, and you feel your heart racing, and you find yourself screaming at a television screen, remember what is actually happening. You aren't just watching a game. You are running a 3 million-year-old program, still fighting for territory, still trying to survive, and you don't even know it.